Mark Rogers TV talking SEC football. We check in with Josh Parcell. You can catch him on College Football Country. That's cfbcountry.com. Bring him in just about every week to talk the big games for each and every week. Talking week 6, the first weekend of October, Texas A&M hosting Alabama. Rewind to 2012. A&M had just joined the SEC, and Johnny Manziel and Kevin Sumlin were the chic play in the SEC and won that first game against the Tide. Monumental victory for Manziel, moving on to the Heisman Trophy. And then they put on 42 on Alabama in a losing effort the next year. It looked like it might be a big series in the SEC. Hasn't turned out that way. Alabama, just the class of the league, unlike any other conference in the country at this point, defeating teams by 60 points. We're not talking great teams, Josh, but who else is going to beat Vandy and Ole Miss by 60 points? Right. It's crazy what Alabama is doing right now in terms of dominance. Texas A&M, what's strange about that situation is that it was roughly a month ago that they had the meltdown at the Rose Bowl. It looked like it all might fall in on Kevin Sumlin. Now they've won 4 consecutive games, and because of Mississippi State and most notably LSU not being anything close to what we thought they were going to be, you look at the schedule, Texas A&M, even regardless of how much they get thumped by Alabama on Saturday, could be a 9 or 10 win football team.
Yeah, you never know. I think that the last 4 games for Texas A&M, while they have all been wins, might be a little bit of fool's gold. I mean, the Nicholls State game, they struggled against Nicholls. They kind of struggled against Louisiana Lafayette for a majority of that game. They won by 24, but they didn't play it all that well. They barely eke out a win against Arkansas. Arkansas is not good. South Carolina, they barely beat South Carolina. That Gamecocks team, while they looked good early, lost Deebo Samuel to injury a couple weeks ago. They're not the same team that they were when they had Deebo Samuel. So beating South Carolina doesn't carry a ton of weight, in my opinion. I don't think this Texas A&M team is all that great, and it really boils down to Kellen Mond at quarterback. He's not a super accurate passer. They've got guys around him. Trevion Williams, a great running back. We know how good Christian Kirk is. But at the end of the day, I think when they face Alabama, and this is a totally different animal than anything they've seen, Alabama's going to be able to put 7 or 8 guys in the box. They're going to force Texas A&M to throw the football. And I don't think Kellen Mond can do that and score very many points. I also don't think A&M's defense, nor any defense really for that matter, is going to keep Alabama under 40 points. So I see this game going about 45-10 in favor of Alabama. They're a machine. The line right now is 26.5. It's hovering around 4 touchdowns. I know at some point it seems like the sky is going to come crashing down for Alabama. They're not going to cover these big spreads. But, boy, at this point, it just seems hard to go against the Crimson Tide. I think they go in against Texas A&M. And you mentioned Johnny Manziel, and a few years ago when A&M kind of started really punching up towards the Crimson Tide. These are the types of games where Alabama loves to really stick it to the teams who think that they belong with Alabama, and Alabama is not going to take any mercy in this game. I think they win it big, 45-10.
Yeah, to underline your point, that was Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago when there was some comments made. Then, of course, Ole Miss with 2 consecutive wins against the Tide in 14 and 15. Right. Yeah, they were reminded of who owns the SEC, 66-3. Texas A&M with 7 sacks in that game against South Carolina, but it also should be noted, in addition to the Deebo Samuel injury, that the Carolina Gamecocks are really beat up along the offensive line, gave up 4 sacks and blowing a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Bama, Texas A&M, 26-point spread, something in that range.